I'm going to turn it over to Chris Morris, and he's going to talk about the omegas, another exciting product from NHT Global.
This is, I agree. Thank you, Tina. This is not only exciting, it's essential. That's why we call it essential fatty acids. So omega-3 fatty acids from NHT is a great way to help people in so many ways, not only understand the options they have with good food and nutrition, but the opportunity they have to get the highest quality of supplementation in this area. And it is critical, really, in today's culture because, you know, even though we're here in Southern California close to Disneyland, there's a Disneyland of nutritional disinformation that's been going on about fats for close to 40 years or more. This topic is worth really understanding and looking into, specifically the good fats and what they are and what that means. Because for decades, and literally decades, we've been programmed, 2-3 generations now, there's an endless effort every day in the media to promote fats as the devil. You know, fat is bad, fat clogs your heart, it makes you ordinary, worse yet, fats equal fat. Fats cause cellulite, love handles, spare tires. They make us accept a standard of life, standard of living less than we should. Low-paying jobs, dents in your cars. You know, I'm making jokes of all this, but it's really hilarious when you listen to the commercialization of fat because they appear to cause everything bad in our lives. And what it's done, it's created this low-fat, no-fat obsession. You have low-fat milk, non-fat salad dressings, yogurts, cheeses, breads, pastas, coffee creamers, ice cream, chips. You know the drill. You've heard it out there if you've ever gone shopping. So what does this do? It instills in our minds the unstated falsehood, and believe me, it is a falsehood, that the problem with these foods is too much fat. Remove the fat and you remove the problem. Well, like I said, this goes back decades because there was a doctor who recommended a Pritikin diet, and this diet excluded all fats. And you know what? He achieved cleaning out arteries and the cardiovascular development of lipids and fats. But that's because the body was looking for fat anywhere it could get it, so it cleaned it out of the arteries. But guess what? Individuals maybe got clean arteries, but they started immune diseases because of the deficiency. So the irony of this campaign against fats and eating these low-fat diets has really created an unhealthy situation, and actually more often than not has created obesity, people being overweight, because they compensate with carbohydrates, and these make fats in the body. So let's get a little background here. First, it's important to understand there's different kinds of fats. Saturated fats, these are the ones that aren't liquid at room temperature, and things like coconut oil and butter. And saturated, we've heard that saturated fats are bad for you, but those are the ones that are overheated or oxidized, generally found in the red meats that we cook. But you look at the coconut oil and butter from good sources, these promote your health. These are good saturated fats. And then the unsaturated fats that are good for you, like we're going to talk about tonight, the omega-3 fatty acids. But then there's also the bad ones, the ones that are rancid, that are processed, meaning they've been hydrogenated. These are the ones that are actually poison to our system, and yet we've inundated our foods with these types of fats, thinking that they were the good fats. So don't buy into the conventional wisdom that says fats are bad or certain kinds of fats are bad. No, there's good and bad fats within all the different types. And so this is where we need to learn a little bit more, and this is the message that we can give with the NHT omega-3 fatty acids. So another important component about learning about fats is that the word essential, okay, because we talk about these as essential fatty acids. So when you hear essential and nutrient, that means that the body can't function without it. And also, generally, the body can't make it. Therefore, it has to be supplemented in our diet. So you hear about the essential amino acids. Well, of the 20-some amino acids, there's 8 essential, the ones your body can't make, but you have to have for complete protein supplementation. Then the essential fats, which we're talking about tonight, these are the ones that you have to supplement. And those essential fats are omega-3s and omega-6. So these are 2 different types of these essential fatty acids. But what's critical here to know is that the omega-3 and the omega-6, the omega-6 is generally abundant in our food source. So therefore, we have sometimes 30 times more omega-6 than omega-3. So therefore, we need to supplement the omega-3 to balance that. And I'll explain a little bit more why that's critical. But let's talk about fats being our friend for health. And essentially, we need fats to make healthy cell membranes. We need fats to create the regulatory molecules in our body. We need fats. They're critical for normal physiology and cell function. So think about it. Good fats make soft and flexible, moisturized skin. Good fats regulate a healthy immune response. Good fats are needed to make certain hormones for a healthy endocrine function. Our joints require good fats. The cardiovascular system depends on good fats to prevent things like high blood pressure, poor circulation. You know, when you don't have the good essential fatty acids, especially the omega-3s, our blood cells, they clump together and they congest the circulatory system, as well as build up on the artery walls. This is the plaque that we talk about that builds up, causing the sclerotic conditions that build up the blood pressure and create poor circulation and potential for stroke and heart attacks. So you see how critical the good fats are to maintaining our health. Then, of course, the central nervous system. You know, the brain is primarily composed of fat. It requires good fats. The central nervous system requires these good fats for health because one of the main functions is the nerve sheath is made out of a lipid layer. It's like the covering on the wiring in our homes. The electrical wires need this covering in order to not short out. So if we don't want to short circuit our nervous system communication, we need the good fats to build a healthy nerve sheath, especially DHA, which is an essential component of the omega-3 essential fatty acids from NHT. DHA is critical, especially when in our development. Infants' brains, they have optimal development when they have a constant source of DHA. This is why the mother is often depleted during gestation and lactation phases, because the DHA is so necessary, and if it's not available in the milk, then it's going to get robbed out of the mother even more. There's a researcher, a Dr. Margaret Leahy, and she clearly links the essential fatty acid deficiency in infants and children for attention deficit disorder, dyslexia, autism. There's all kinds of medical sources that have referenced these issues due to deficiency in the essential fatty acids. So we're emphasizing with the newborn that the DHA is so critical, and this is why when we can introduce this product to all individuals, and especially for moms or women that want to be mothers, it's so critical. And then, of course, the good fats are critical for elimination. We don't realize that a healthy liver and gallbladder function with good fats. So you see every system in the body, every component of our tissue integrity requires good fats. So do you think this is an important product?
Well, I do know that, we take essential fatty acids, and we have been. What we're happy about is now we can buy those essential fatty acids from the same company where Stem Renew is going to be.
Exactly.
And that is so wonderful to be able to have them at the same source, the same company.
Well, you brought that up earlier in introducing this conversation, and the reason it's so important is because Stem Renew is critical for cellular communication. And that cellular communication requires a healthy cell, and that healthy cell has to be soft and pliable. And it isn't soft and pliable, these good fats. And it's the bad fats, the trans fats, the ones that have been processed, the hydrogenated fats, that if they build up the cell, then you have this, stiff, rigid cellular membrane that doesn't respond to nutrient and the pulse of life, the fluctuation of energy and the movement of energy. So this is a critical component. And also, what does a cell do? The cell makes glycoproteins and glycolipids. These are the components for this communication that goes on. So glycolipid means a fat, and the good fats are necessary for this cellular function. So critical. Now, earlier I mentioned that generally those individuals that do consume fat in their diet, the American diet and the Western cultures, they overconsume the omega-6 and not enough of the omega-3. So this is why you don't see the omega-6 as a supplement, because it's the omega-3 that's deficient, or the omega-3 that has to increase the proper ratio, because if the omega-6 is dominant, then you experience inflammatory conditions, because the inflammatory state is important. It's part of the immune response, but when it's too high because of too much omega-6, you get these inflammatory, they're called mini hormones, prostaglandins, and they dominate, and they create this silent inflammation that so many people have problems with. This is where the heart attacks, the strokes, the cancers, all the diseases, the degenerative diseases we hear about can be sourced because of not enough of the good essential omega-3s that are necessary to balance the omega-6s if they're dominant like we see. So this is, again, the story for NHT's omega-3 essential fatty acids. It's a critical story, and here's what you need to know from our experience. The source and the stability of these good fats are critical. So how they're manufactured, they're manufactured in an oxygen-free environment. So this allows them to not be rancid in the manufacturing process. The oil is sourced from smaller fish. That means they're lower on the food chain so that they don't accumulate these toxins from the environment, especially the heavy metals that are found in the larger fish. And also the smaller fish have a shorter lifespan, so that means that they have less time to accumulate the environmental toxins. So you see, the source is so important, and this is what's taken into consideration in the manufacture and production of NHT's omega-3 essential fatty acids. So another thing is that once it's manufactured, it has to stay stable, because fats are very fragile. They're sensitive to light and heat. And what's added to this incredible formula is a natural stabilizer. It's stabilized with a palmitate, ascorbic palmitate, which is a vitamin C, an oil form of vitamin C, and vitamin E, which is a stabilizing agent, a preservative, a natural preservative in our vitamin supplementation or vitamin requirements. So you're getting a supplement as well as its function. It has a dual function of being a stabilizer. And then the herb of rosemary, which is just a phenomenal, powerful antioxidant. So you have these blended in, so you see a natural food that has natural stabilizers in it. So again, it's something you want to be proud to represent and feel good about recommending. Another thing I like about it is that because it's a gel cap, sometimes, children need essential fatty acids as much as we do. We talk about just, infant development. Well, children can take this, and if they can't swallow the gel cap, they can chew it. And the reason they can chew a fish oil is because it has a wonderful lemon flavor. So I tested one of these just before even getting into this conversation tonight. And again, we have to just teach our children the opportunity they have to just take in these good foods and good supplements that we provide. And again, this is all part of the NHT story that we're so happy to represent and help you understand. So it's clean, it's good tasting, it's a citrus flavoring, and it doesn't create this rebound that a lot of people complain about when they take in fatty supplements, and you don't get this fishy belch that comes back to repeat on you. So just you would take 1 or 2 capsules. Usually the recommendation is at least 2 capsules for good maintenance for the adult, and 1 for a child. And unless you have some type of chronic condition where you need more of this essential fatty acid support, then you can take as much as 6 per day, but you never do more than 8, because again, it's really concentrated, and it's an ideal food source. So here's another thing that really speaks volumes for NHT. Here's a product that's created, it's manufactured with the consideration for sustainability. The World Organization that looks after our environment, our ecology, look to the oceans. It's a rich food source, but we can't overfish. We have to be careful. We have to make sure it's sustainable. So this product has a certification and meets the standards of this World Organization for its commitment. It's called Friends of the Sea, and they're committed to good sustainability. So here's something that complements Stem Renew. We're going to talk about so many of the NHT products tomorrow night. Be sure to join us, because we're going to get into all the dynamics that happens with the synergy and the complementary products you can take with Stem Renew. And we just wanted to get this story out first about the omega-3 essential fatty acids, because it's a great one. And Joe, I know you've been working with it for some time. Can you share a little bit more on this story, but help us let everyone know this is one they've got to have.
I knew we needed to have that in our pipeline, and we worked very hard to get it over here in NHT Global, and it's now one of our top, I believe now, one of our top 4 selling products globally. And the more people understand, all they have to do is just listen to this great training that you just did, Chris. They'll know that they need to get on something like this. And you add Stem Renew to this, it's a great foundation to health and wellness.
Absolutely.
So three things, everyone. We need good fats every day. They're essential. We need to have them. The second thing is, please stay away from anything that says low-fat food. Okay? That is evil. Stay away from low-fat foods. You need to have the good fats. And the third thing is, fantastic. Joe, do you have anything else before we move into the Q&A portion of this?
Well, I think it's real important people understand that heart disease is one of the major contributors to death. And, Chris, I know you touched on that. This is a real important ingredient or product for maintaining your heart health,
Good point.
Very good. Thank you so much.
Can you take Omega with Stem Renew at the same time or a different time?
Absolutely. They're 2 good foods. And it's a good question, because fats should be taken with food, because it helps to break it down. The bile acids from the gallbladder, the liver, and gallbladder are necessary so those fats can be absorbed and utilized. So you take your essential fatty acids with food, but because Stem Renew is a food of its own, you take the 2 together, and it's a mini meal, a complete mini meal.
Yeah. Third question. I can answer this one. Should omega-3 be kept in the fridge? Once it's open, it's recommended.
So thank you, everyone, for being on tonight. If we have no more questions, we can wrap it up.
Good night, everyone. Great job, guys. Great job.
Thank you. Thank you, Joe.
Good night, everyone.